Quinton Rampage Jackson versus Ryan Bader. This is a fairly straightforward matchup in my opinion. First, let me say that I hope that Ryan Bader wins, because this would be a great win for his career. This would not be a very good thing to happen for, this would be a great win for Ryan Bader's career because it would help him get that ugly Tito Ortiz loss off of his resume and make fans forget about that. Ryan Bader did come back to his winning ways after he lost to John Jones and Tito. He knocked out Jason Brills, but, Rampage Jackson is much better than Jason Brills. But, I don't think it would be great for the UFC and their Japan market if Quinton Rampage Jackson were to lose because, MMA legend, Rampage Jackson, you guys know who he is. Everyone does, I know I said that a lot, but Rampage, coming off of his loss to John Jones, despite that he is still a mega superstar in Japan. He is, swarmed on the streets. He mobbed by them. The ladies love him in Japan. He loves the fans there too. He really has built his career back then also. And, hopefully Rampage goes back to his roots and he's going to be looking to go out there and put on some old school Rampage Jackson style slams and on Ryan Bader and really taking it to him and showing that, he's still got some left, but Rampage still, he seems like he's unmotivated every now and then. I question his heart and his work ethic. He's gone on record saying that he doesn't train as much as I think he needs to, but maybe being back in Japan will be just something that he needs to get his career going. So I think that Rampage Jackson is strong enough and his takedown defense is good enough to stuff any and all of the takedowns that Ryan Bader will offer. And I see him stuffing Ryan Bader's takedowns and countering him with power hook shots like he usually does, and basically just doing that over and over again until either he TKOs Ryan Bader in the second round or takes a fairly one-sided unanimous decision. In what will kind of end up being a win-win scenario for Bader, because a loss to Rampage, there's nothing really to be ashamed of. So, there you go. I've got Rampage winning that one. And we've also got, next on the card, Mark Hunt versus Chet Congo. I've never been the biggest fan of Chet Congo in the world. He did really surprise me, and with that amazing come-from-behind victory knockout at the hands of Pat Barry, one of the most exciting rounds last year. And Mark Hunt has been looking pretty good too. Let me see. After, he had like 7 losses in a row. He kind of got a big win over Crow Cop, got a win over Vanderlei Silva, and he beat Dan Bobush also back at Pride 28. And he also lost to Sean McCorkle at UFC 119. He just got his arm twisted. The same Sean McCorkle who also happens to be in the UFC Undisputed video game for some reason. Wow. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Mark Hunt came back and he got the win over Chris Tercer at UFC 127. Good win. And he beat Ben Rothwell in a pretty ugly, gross fight. But he got it done. It'd be nice if Mark Hunt got the win. I imagine plenty of people know who he is in Japan, but Chet Congo is going to be looking to go out there and counter any stand-up offense that Mark Hunt will offer with takedowns and with his decent ground and pound that he has. The French kickboxer Congo, he does have a very strong chin, so I see him being able to take any type of strikes that Mark Hunt can dish out toward him. And I think Congo is just going to, in the end, be too much and too fast and too fresh in this situation, as it were. So I'm going to pick Congo by, if not like a second-round TKO, a unanimous decision. Because I think he could have finished Matt Mitrione when he beat him, but he kind of played it safe and just... his jiu-jitsu still looks pretty terrible. Alright. The other kind of headliner for the main card, Yoshihiro Akiyama, Sexyama, takes on Jake Shields. I gotta tell you, there must really be, in sort of a fight of the loser goes home, could be, for the Zuffa organization. There must really be a market and an outcry for, from the Japanese mixed martial arts fan base to see Akiyama fight in Japan tomorrow night, because Akiyama, in my opinion, has done very little to maintain his employment with the UFC. He showed up at UFC 100 and, got that win, that controversial win over Alan Belcher, a fight in which I picked him to win, but on second viewing I thought Alan Belcher did it. He then lost to Chris Lieben, he lost to Michael Bisping, and he got knocked out by Vitor Belfort. He got choked out by Chris Lieben in that loss, by the way. However, he does hold a strange record, I think it is at least his record. In his first 3 appearances in the UFC, he's the only fighter ever to have earned the Fight of the Night honor 3 times in a row. So, okay, check out what it is, for what it is. Hold on. Getting a text and... Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, this is, Akiyama, even though he gasses badly and... a lot of Japanese people are probably going to want to see him lose because, he's actually, I think, from Korean, or he's from Korean descent, and he cheated against Sakuraba, they love Kazushi Sakuraba, and all that stuff. Jake Shields has the much better jiu-jitsu, him coming off that quick loss to Jake Ellenberger, in which I predicted that too. I didn't predict him to lose in less than a minute, but Jake Shields, he had that tough loss, and that loss was after his father passed away. But what Jake Shields cannot do in this fight, Jake, what you cannot do is try to go out there and kickbox with Yasuhiro Akiyama. Go up with Akiyama, clinch with him, tire him out in the first round, and submit him in the second round or the third round, because I know that you have the jiu-jitsu to do that. Don't go out there trying to be all balls to the wall and exciting. If it's boring, it's boring. Just, you gotta get that win. The UFC has invested a lot of time and effort and money into you, so just do what you need to do to get the win. I think Jake Shields is good enough to beat Akiyama in this situation, and after this, the UFC very well may cut him. So I'm going to pick Jake Shields to win by submission, probably a guillotine choke, late round 2 or early round 3. And in a middleweight fight, Yushin Okami versus Tim Boetsch. I am glad that Yushin Okami got moved to the main card in this fight, and I feel bad for Okami. He has earned more wins than any other Japanese fighter, and yet his face isn't even on the poster. They've got Akiyama's there, who's 1-3 in the UFC. Yushin Okami's like 9-3 right now. And he at this point should feel grateful that he is not matched up with Anderson Silva on the other side of the cage. So Tim Boetsch, what can he offer? He's a big, strong guy who moves, yeah, he hasn't lost at middleweight yet. He's got a win over Kendall Grove, win over Nick Ring. His last loss was to Phil Davis. He also lost to Jason Brills. And he's got a decent 14-4 record. He trains in wrestling, Jeet Kune Do, and Judo. However, I do believe that Yushin Okami will have a much better advantage in defensive wrestling in this bout, and Judo as well. And I think Okami is tough enough to take any of the strikes that Tim Boetsch has. Let me see. He also lost to Matt Hamill at UFC Fight Night, Florian versus Lozon. And Tim Boetsch's chin's kind of questionable too, so really, to be quick, I think Okami is going to be able to do whatever he wants to Tim Boetsch and defend his takedowns and Judo throw him all over the cage and just basically do that. He needs to be more aggressive though. He needs to be more in Boetsch's face, so he'll make him fold under his pressure. So I'm going to pick Okami by a close decision. Hatsuhioki versus Bart Palazewski. Palazewski, he looked great in his knockout win over Tyson Griffin. Before that, he lost to Kamal Salarus, and he got a win over Anthony Pettis also, and Zach Middlewright at the WEC and WC 50. Very experienced in jiu-jitsu. And he fights out of Team Curran from Wonder Lake, Illinois. And Hatsuhiyuki, a guy, one of the greatest featherweights to be competing in mixed martial arts, to have taken really quite a while to make it to the UFC, to finally make it in here. He's got wins over Human Santo, Marlon Sandro. He beat Mark Hominick, George Roop, and Jeff Curran. And he has never been finished in a fight. All of his losses have been close decisions. And he's got a pretty good-looking record of 25-4-2. He didn't look great, in all honesty, against George Roop. He gassed quickly. He didn't make that many submission attempts, but he's got a lot of submissions. In this fight, Bart Polezweski, I think, is going to be ready for anything that Hioki can do. I hope Hioki wins, though, because I think they're trying to match him up against Aldo. But even then, I don't know, honestly, what Hioki possibly has for the beast that is Jose Aldo. So I'm going to pick Polezweski to win by second round knockout, or this could be a first round knockout if he gasses, in the first round. So there you go. I do have the Polish fighter getting it done. And the final fight in the main card, we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly. Anthony Pettis versus Joe Lauzon. Joe Lauzon looked pretty damn good in, finally stopping Melvin Goulard's winning streak and choking him out in just 47 seconds, winning submission of the night at UFC 136. And Joe Lauzon, certainly, if he is able to lock in a great submission within the first 4 minutes of this fight, he certainly can be, I think, the first guy to submit Anthony Pettis. I think Anthony Pettis hasn't been finished in his career. Yeah, he hasn't. He just has that decision loss to Clay Guida and a decision loss to Bart Polezweski. Anthony Pettis, technically the last WEC champion, and he kind of got the short end of the stick, but when he got out-wrestled by Clay Guida, and even though he had the win over Ben Henderson, Henderson was the one to really establish himself as a true up-and-comer in the UFC so far. But Pettis still has a lot of potential. He's the much better striker than Jeremy Stevens, and he's also a very dynamic submission specialist who can just, go for guillotine chokes as he's climbing up you, from the north-south position, and it's just crazy some of the things he can pull off. Very dynamic off of his back. He's always moving, always looking for things, and I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to find a way to defeat Joe Lauzon by decision. And, so, even though it would be great if Joe Lauzon wins, and I kind of hope he does, actually, I think I've actually got to go again. I'm going to pick Joe Lauzon to lose. I'm going to pick Anthony Pettis to get the win here by either submission, round 3, or like a split decision. So, good luck. This all depends really on if Pettis' conditioning is still on point, which it usually is. Okay, for the FX card and the Facebook card, here we go. I'm going to pick Takanori Gomi to actually get a win over Eiji Mitsuka. I'm going to pick Vagan Lee to defeat Kid Yamamoto. Riki Fukuda is going to I think is most assuredly going to defeat Steve Cantwell. I don't know what is keeping Steve Cantwell in the UFC. He's pretty much on the same bus that Yoshihiro Akiyama is right now. I'm going to pick Takeo Misagaki to defeat Chris Karasawa. And I'm going to pick Zhang Tikan to defeat Isu Tamura. There you go, those are my picks. I'm Selectfest Wizard. It's going to be a great night, a great card. We've got 7 bouts on the main thing. It's going to be the last pay-per-view card for a while until we've got John Jones versus Rashad Evans. Keep it real, guys. MMA. Keep up with it. Signing off.